Good morning from the UK. Hope you're safe and well. Talking of safe, it's clear that a certain individual is no longer as safe as they thought they would be. And this is an individual whose narcissistic tendencies get in their way. They convince themselves they're invincible. Perhaps that worldview is starting to change now. Jerry Woodward posted to me, he's a member of ExploratingMinds.com, and he does help out the administration now and then as well. He posted a link about Trump and the First Lady testing positive for COVID. Now, I know conspiracy paranoidness will jump on this one because they're going to claim that this is perfect timing to try to get Trump out of office. It's October, the elections are in November, if I remember rightly. I think that's, isn't it usually November? I know Biden's a candidate. Biden is called Sleeping Biden because tends to be somewhat having senile moments. Are those moments more as common as we're led to believe, though? You know, that's one thing, if you want to be a bit conspiratorial, because I think the media want the public to believe that Biden's not an ideal candidate at all, where he might have some attributes that might make him reasonable. Of course, you know, I don't know, maybe I haven't got enough information to claim that, but a theory on that would be, we all know how the media do like to filter information towards something that sells. They just want a story, and of course there'll be truth, that there'll be a framework in which the truth is presented to encourage a particular perspective on that set of information. Yeah. So a worldview then is nurtured and encouraged towards bias against people like Biden, perhaps, you know, in that arena. It'd be ideal for the media to have Trump remain in office because he's fodder for more storylines, more perspectives to enforce, and it's easier. It's a lot easier. It's a lot less hard work for the media because Trump will use hyperbolic attitudes and narcissistic attitudes, and you know, there's a big list of unusualness from how you expect a president of America to behave. And that's why, from the get-go, media jumped on that and said, oh, Trump said this, Trump said that. Half the time Trump would do better if he just kept his mouth shut and allowed somebody far more articulate of particular sets of information speak for him, particularly when it came to the virus problem. He has kids as well, so I hope they're okay. I hope they're all going to be okay. As much as I think Trump's a narcissistic idiot who just got lucky in life with being able to create businesses, but then they go into liquidation, and then he will use the finance to do another business, and he kind of on a roll. And where that came from, apparently inherited from what it looks like, and I'm willing to believe all that. And yeah, I don't wish this kind of suffering on anyone, though, is what I'm trying to say. But the thing is, you know, if you're going to be in the political arena, you have to be here and there to do your due diligence, to look like you're campaigning for the right results for your party, right? And a two-party political system in America is a perfect recipe for corruption anyway. That's one of the core things wrong with the American system. And it's people who are narcissistic tend to get the presidency because of the nature of wanting that kind of power. But when they get to power, they realise they're not really that powerful. It's really corporations that run America, and I don't think Congress even have that much, as much power as we think they might. Politicians get whispers in their ear from corporations and say, "Hey, if you do this, that will help us." Whatever the this and whoever they are might be, and so, like a good politician, he obeys and goes along, and because if you do this, that help us, then we'll fund you for this. We'll fund you for this and that as a thank you. They veer off track slightly, and then suddenly the funding stopped, and media make a big hoo-ha over some kind of deal not going through, or there's money gone, not enough money for something or other, because a corporative dealership somewhere, whoever they might be, the who's, the what's, why, when and where, in whatever situation, has fallen through the floor. This is why you get that. Occasionally, I do believe I've seen within, I don't know so much about American politics, and maybe there is individuals, I do think there have been individuals in the UK, I'm not going to say which names because people will heavily disagree and so on, but I don't want no roadblocks in the way of wasting time and debating on that. However, I think there have been those individuals who are genuinely passionate about doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not passionate about filling their pockets and that kind of power by influencing a whole country's system or society, whatever you want to call it, the economy. And everyone's economy all over the world is suffering, but that's okay, it will bounce back. The virus will either disappear or we will get a vaccine. Those two things are a given. However, viruses do mutate. There's a problem there, and they can transition from one species to another. We need to be really careful now. They also propagate quicker because cities are overcrowded. There isn't overpopulation on a planet. There is overcrowding. It's two different things. So with that in mind, who's the most crowded country on the planet? Well, China. Therefore, transmission of this was very easy, prolific from the get-go for them. So this is why it's always a hotspot for things like this. And the debates over the wet markets as well, lack of cleanliness and so on, and China's hunger for stealing information from more professional conduct in other countries and then trying to do things in their own without such professional conduct is a thread of possibility where it's been argued that the virus leaked from a lab, not deliberately, it was an accident, and they realised and they tried to keep it quiet because it was embarrassing. That would, to me, give a good logical reasoning as to why they was very quiet about it, which was the worst thing they could ever have done. instead, instead of political embarrassment or embarrassment of unprofessional conduct, they should have just said, hey, there's a problem. We're seeing SARS-like illnesses, but it's different. And we need help immediately before this spreads too far. No, they kept it really quiet from probably going on in October. From what I'm looking at, educated guesses prior to the November when there was rumours of it, and then you get to December, everyone knew it was going on, and then January, February, it was going around the world. I think it was March, the end of March, where the UK had a national lockdown. If I remember rightly, things are a bit of a blur. There's many lockdowns here, still ongoing in the UK. There's many towns that surround my town are locked down or restricted now at the moment, as predicted for this time of year. Going through June, July, very, very low amount of cases. Almost looked like it was just going to disappear. But people weren't doing the due diligence going towards end of August and going into September. You get the nicest days tend to be the hot, sunny days, clear, beautiful weather, tend to be increasingly rare, and people might have a bit bad weather in between, and then you get one of those days and they all go nuts with the public bars. Our government should have really restricted the public bars from the get-go. There was places shut down where public bars weren't. It doesn't matter what country did what. I don't think anyone really has handled it in a way that it would be perfect, because there's a lot they don't understand about it. But as I predicted, and many other people predicted, there would be a big peak now, and people, along with people not doing the due diligence, cooler, drier weather is better for a virus. Cold and dry. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. Of course, if it's dry but very hot, but you have a lot of air conditioning, and you're living in flats or blocks of buildings on top of each other, there can be a problem there. That's what the problem is with Spain, I think. They have a very dry climate in terms of humidity. UK has bouts of very high humidity. If we combine that high humidity with heat, and particularly midsummer high ultraviolet index, it practically starts to disable and level off the transmission rate. That's why it went down very quickly. And on top of that, went down, started dropping quite a bit, and then we were all told to wear masks, and it stopped dropping again. Started, make sure we maintain social distance and all this, and just kept dropping. But there's always those individuals who think they're invincible. Trump thinks he's invincible. I really think he does. He thinks the virus is no problem. If he had it. Well, apparently he's tested positive now. He has got it. What's this going to do now? America's lack of education and love of consumerism and entertainment has caused a massive erosion of how they understand what the hell's going on. And there are paranoid conspiracy theories who jump on this as well. They're in a very emotionally intense situation at the moment. You're going to have riots here and there claiming that Trump was deliberately targeted. Again, as a politician, you can't really call Trump a politician, but he's the president of the United States, right? However, you have to do your due diligence if you want to see the results that you're claiming you're going after. And to do that, you need to come and go places, have talks and so on. And really, there should be strict measures at those places. Anyway, we'll have to see what happens. I don't know what's really going to happen, but again, this video, EN Network channel that can go on this video, is part of, as Jerry posted this to me on exploratoryminds.com, where I was logged in today looking at the different things that we might develop for the platform. And I got that in a private message. So it's Trump, First Lady. I don't know if his kids are infected. If they are, they need to quarantine. Will they quarantine? Will Trump do what he's told from his scientific advisors? Will he do due diligence to risk infecting other people? That's one thing, because we know how narcissistic he is. How bad is he suffering? Some people get this and they have a light cough and they're fine, and then they get over it. Other people get this and it annihilates them. One person's mother in the UK, despite being relatively healthy, with some underlying health issues apparently, I forget what it was, but they went to hospital on the Monday. They were dead by the Thursday. This is vicious. For some people, highly vicious. Slow and hard work, and a problem for others. Vitamin D is a big player. I've said that before, and I can't stress enough. I'm not a biologist, I'm not a scientist, but I can connect the dots with statistics, and I can learn a little bit about what does vitamin D do in the body, and why is it beneficial here and there, and so on. And perhaps I'll make a separate video on how all that works, but I'll give you a statistic here. %, of victims from the virus in Indonesia who died from this, 80% of those who died were vitamin D deficient. Right? Vitamin D does a number of things in the body as to why it would be beneficial to combating infection, allowing the lining in your lungs to regrow as well, things like this, to helping it repair, all kinds of things. I want to do a separate video on that anyway. People who are fair and light-haired don't tend to be suffering as bad as those as darker colouring, dark hair, darker skin. And I'm not talking about race particularly, just generally along the spectrum of, some people are very light coloured, some people have more pigment. The darker your pigment is, the less UV light gets to penetrate any depth into your skin. The UV light causes a mechanism for the body to generate its own vitamin D. It's called a vitamin, but that's like a layman term. It's relatively more akin to a hormone. And we all know hormones do a lot of different things for the biology of our bodies. Like testosterone isn't just good for things down below. It does affect your bone structure. It helps your bones be tougher and stronger as well. It causes more muscle mass than you would if you didn't have this. This is why women don't have as much muscle mass as men. So there's a number of things. It affects many different things, and hormones do all kinds of different things in the body. So vitamin D is no exception. It certainly helps a lot of things work better. It also causes a higher levels of serotonin in the brain than you would have if it was lower, if your vitamin D was lower. Serotonin is a feel-good hormone. Everyone feels great, a lot better in sunny weather. Well, that's why, and it literally wakes you up. It literally helps your brain work better. It's a neurotransmitter. It helps things communicate better. You get rid of the brain fog. So there's all kinds of things this can do. When you feel better, your immune system works better because you ain't got stress hormones in the way of things doing their thing. It's all a bigger picture, right? But the Trumps have this virus now. I don't know what's going to happen next. Who's going to say what? Jump on it. I know one individual who will jump on this and claim 100%. He will probably call his video "I was right" and then number it. Some of you know who I'm talking about. Some small amount too. This has nothing to do with anyone who's any group that's attacked any of the media community that I know of more recently. This is just a nut that is on BitChute and other platforms, makes videos. I was right, number 1. I was right, number 2. And he was never right. Actually numbers his videos. And he's probably already said they would try and bump Trump off in order to get Biden in because they want a communist America rather than what they got more of a republic than a democracy anyway, but regardless. You're going to see people jump on that bandwagon. You're going to see people claiming that this was deliberately given to Trump. Well, that would mean if it was deliberately given, it's just how do you do that without risking? If I was deliberately giving it to you, how do I do that without risking myself as well? You have to socially distance as well and all these other things. But there's no logic within paranoia, right? Because when you fight or flight, that's all that's required. You fight or flight and think logically about the thing afterwards. And that's problematic. Fear is the mind killer, right? Thanks for watching. Peace out. And I look forward to doing another video soon. I do want to get on with other things I promised, but it's just, there's so much going on at the moment. It's not a bad thing. It's just my brain's flooded with number of ideas at the moment, and I don't know which one to work on first, so I'm going to write it all down and tick it off one by one. That normally works better for me when I do that. Cheers everyone, bye.